Hi everyone, this is Shawna Potter, host of But Her Lyrics, and what a treat I have for everyone today. I am here with a couple of my former bandmates from my Nashville days in the late 90s, because our band, Verona, well, one of our songs recently became a solved mystery in the Lostwave music community, a corner of the internet that I did not know existed until recently. So I'm very excited to learn more about that from our guest, Tom, and to take advantage of this wonderful excuse to walk down memory lane with Beth and Leah. So thank you all so much for taking the time to join me on But Her Lyrics. Beth and Leah, please introduce yourself to everyone and tell us what you did in the band.
Leah, you go.
Already embarrassed.
My name is Leah Bergman. I played bass, co-wrote songs, and sang in the band Verona.
Oh. I'm Beth Cameron. I played guitar and wrote and also sang.
And I did that stuff too. Sing, play guitar, write songs. All right, Tom, this is our first time ever speaking. We've messaged a few times to get ready for this chat today, but we don't know each other at all. Please introduce yourself and tell us why you are here and what is Lostwave.
Sure. So I'm Tom, obviously. I'm a musician and a game designer and a bunch of other stuff. And I kind of got roped into this whole Lostwave thing actually fairly recently. But it's kind of like people who are just like obsessed with finding songs that are like lost, whether that be, they don't have an arc to them, or a lot of them are songs that were uploaded 10, 15, 20 years ago onto some file sharing website with the wrong artist attached to them. And so the whole community is about trying to find these people and credit them properly for all of the stuff they did. I wasn't really super into it until recently. And I mean, here I am now as kind of a spokesperson, I guess. But
sorry.
It's okay.
How big is this community? Like, the community, should I feel dumb for not knowing about it until now?
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, there is a sizable online presence, but it's not something super in the mainstream. There is, I think the most popular one is probably The Most Mysterious Song on the Internet. That's got like 20 million views on YouTube or something. That's like, that one's huge, but nobody ever solved that one. It's still kind of up in the air.
Oh. Interesting.
Solve it today.
And that's why we're here today. Good luck. All right. Okay, so Tom, can you sum up for listeners what brings the four of us here today? Like, what is the Verona connection? What's the story? How did this play out?
Weirdly enough, I was in a Discord server for a different song, ended up becoming a moderator in that server. After we had solved our initial song, we kind of moved on to trying to figure out other things to look for. And your song was really big for that server. Everybody was super into it. A lot of the people there are like 20s and younger, really into like the kind of, they really dug that sound a lot. And so we had a poll to figure out what we would do next. And Downfall, as we had called it at the time, was kind of the overwhelming winner in that case. So that became our next search. And then, obviously we found it, which was not easy, not an easy process.
Like, how did you find us?
Let me pull up here. I've got some notes from Sveta, who was, also very involved in this community, one of the other mods from the Discord. She's actually the one, if I'm not mistaken, the one who found the song. I can give you a couple things that we found where digging through the file names, digging through metadata ended up helping us a lot. I think the metadata gave away that it was like that the song had a longer title, and we had tried to figure out what it was. Hi, so future Tom. I just wanted to make a quick correction on this part of the video. It was not the metadata that gave away the title of the song. Aaron had used an API search for Last.fm to generate 8,000 results for the term downfall. Sveta then went through and researched a ton of it, and then isolated certain results and landed on The Downfall of a Well-Known Actress by Fair Verona. The song itself was unfindable at the time, but she had found different songs by Fair Verona on their Bandcamp, and obviously the singer was very similar because it was Beth. And the song still wasn't available anywhere technically, but she was able to find an archived version from the year 2000 on their website. So just wanted to make that quick update and make that a little more clear, because our Discord server was actually archived right before this interview happened, so I didn't have access to all the information, and now I do. That's all. Back to the video. Your song, by the way, the way somebody had found this, I believe, was like on an MP3 site, completely cleaned of all of its metadata with no artist or name attached to it. And we picked the name Downfall just because... Actually, no, that was the name of the MP3. That's what it was.
Must have been, because I don't think that lyric is in... Like, I don't think we say Downfall in the lyrics.
No,
and it's such an interesting time for music, the you know, late 90s, early 2000s, where things are being digitized. And... But no one was like sorting it or like taking care of anything. No one gave a shit because we still had physical media, you know?
Right, yeah. So that's kind of my angle, is that it's the music preservation angle is really important to me. So, and to other people, but that's kind of why I'm there. So I think actually you featured in a song with a band, Here's Collective.
Yeah, the Hers Collective. Yep.
Yes, and Philadelphia band, Philadelphia boy, so that was a weird connection. But somebody had found out that you were in the song, and the only thing at the time that we had found you in was that song and your current band. And we could not, for the life of us, link you back to Fair Verona, and somebody ended up finding a Bandcamp page with your name attached to it, with Fair Verona, and the song wasn't on the Bandcamp either.
I know.
And I think through some third-party website, through some other tangential website, somebody had found out that the song was either cut, the album was cut, something along those lines. That was it. Somebody had found like the MP3 with the full name eventually, and that was kind of it. It was an extremely long process of scouring through MP3 sites and file names, trying to and MySpace archives. MySpace music archives were huge because tons of people posted MP3s without properly tagging anything.
Right, but we were definitely broken up by the time MySpace came around, So
right,
that's fascinating.
And that's something. Yeah, we found that out after the fact, obviously, but we looked through like some 1,000 songs tagged Downfall on MySpace archives. It was crazy.
Wow. How does that story, it sounds super investigative, right? Really tedious. How does that story compare, like on average, with the songs that you're searching for? Like, what's the success rate? Does it normally take that long? Do most go unsolved?
I would say a good portion of them go unsolved for sure. A lot of them also don't really get the traction that yours or one of the bigger ones is Fond My Mind, which was just solved fairly recently too. Not all of them get all of that traction, and a lot of them do end up going unsolved. we really liked your song, and after finding out who did it and everything, then you get into the band and everything, and you guys did release a lot of really good music, and I want to say that up front too. It's a shame that these songs end up going on so long without anybody being attached to it. Lately, we've had kind of a renaissance of song solves. Our server, right before you guys, we had solved a song that was labeled Dance for Hours a Day, which turned out to be a song called Funky by an indie band from the UK. After that, we moved on to you guys and solved it within like weeks of the first one. After that, solved another one called There's a Man. It kind of snowballed. Yours is kind of an odd case. I'd say it's in the minority, especially because you guys are still active, which is very rare in this scene.
Ah, yeah. Right. Well, okay. So that I feel like we should start talking about the song itself. Regular listeners of But Her Lyrics know to keep listening to the end of the episode. You will hear the song in full. Which version of MP3 I have lying around, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so now I'm going to turn it over to Tom so you can ask us questions collected from the Lostwave community. So go ahead. I'll take off my host hat.
I can't put a hat on. I have headphones. So the first one I've got for you is just the general band history. I know a little bit of this because I have watched Turned Out a Punk. Just, general rundown.
Yeah, who wants to take that?
I can. Shawna and I met in high school. I was a junior. You were a freshman, right? Mm-hmm. Brand new school that was just built in our town. Shawna just moved to Nashville. I grew up there. I don't know how we even met. I think someone was like, this girl plays guitar and this girl plays guitar. And this is a time in which no females played rock music.
We were rare.
When you heard of that, right. We were just like, I gotta know this person. So Shawna and I started writing together. We had a third girl in the band who eventually went off to college and didn't want to play music anymore. I, hung around this all ages punk club a lot, and the owner introduced me to Leah at a karate show. Because again, he was like, I know a girl that plays music. You guys should meet. Leah graciously joined our band. So we went through a myriad of drummers, and we got signed to an indie label for a development deal, which were big in the 90s, where an indie label would sign you, develop you, sign you off to a major label. They would get a big payday. You would get nothing, which we eventually found out through our lawyer that we had signed over everything. We were touring all the time, meeting with managers, doing the whole thing.
We were going for it. We were trying to do something and hoping it would work out. And we were limited by my school schedule because by the time Beth had graduated, I was the only person left in school. So we were on a music industry track that just kind of fizzled when I think we were what are we doing this for if we don't have any rights, kind of?
I wouldn't even say it fizzled. I would say it atomic bombed into that we had no choice but to break up or I think at the time we thought we had no choice but to break up. We were young, frustrations, all that. So we broke up because we had signed this terrible deal. And Leah, is there what I miss?
I think the small place that we met was called Lucy's Record Shop, which in Nashville was a pretty legendary place. It's been featured in some documentaries even. One in particular that came out of Louisville. The name escapes me, which makes me very sad because I'd love to get that person.
We'll put it in the show notes. Don't worry.
Amazing. And the owner, I guess, Mary, what was Mary's last name? Mancini. Oh, so she was really instrumental in building the Nashville scene. I had been a classically trained musician from the age of 4 when I met these beautiful, talented ladies. And just as a rebellion after getting a full scholarship to Belmont for music composition, I was like, well, I'm going to be in a punk band. I'm not going to practice ever again. And I would still come home after band practice and play these gigantic concertos on the piano and be like, oh God, I missed you so much.
That's so funny because Fair Verona practiced more than any band I've ever been in since. We practiced all the time. I don't know why. I don't know if it helped. We were constantly writing and changing, maybe more Beth than anyone, but just constantly tweaking songs that you thought were done. Cool, I learned that one. No, I'm changing the chorus. There's no reason why. I'm just doing it. Okay, fine. It was like boot camp.
Why they evolved beautifully, and
of course,
as far as I knew, all bands practiced that much because
I had no idea.
Going to do when you're that young.
Put into it, and at the time that they met me, I had been submitting jingles for other things. I think I wrote the intro for like an MTV trailer that never did anything, and I was doing some studio work as like I was in the musicians union to do backup vocals and voice commercials. So like I sort of looked at music as a job, which was not popularly received when I first got into the band. But then they're like, well, we have to have this indie credibility. I was like, you can, but like it's cool to make money too if you want to.
I still haven't learned that lesson, Leah.
Yeah. So that's where I was. And it was just such a breath of fresh air to be able to play with people, and if you got tired of the drummer, no problem. New one was coming pretty soon. So
next question.
I had been signed once before as well. I was on Sponge Bath Records, which the band that is in the background of Self was on that record label. That was my first deal, and then Ivy Records was the second one. None since then.
Well, you're far ahead of the game of every band I've ever been in practice-wise. That's for damn sure. So, props to you, because it seems like everybody in every band doesn't want to make money.
I wasn't in it for the money. I just was like, if somebody wants to do a Budweiser commercial, don't be like, oh, it's
we would be like, no, our morals.
I want to buy one of these things back here, like.
It was a weird time because that was when indie bands were starting to get picked up by major labels. So now it's no big deal. But then indie credibility was a huge,
selling out was a death.
Selling out was like vernacular. And so.
2 weeks later after that, like Modest Mouse came and stayed at my apartment, and they were like, yeah, we're going to be doing this, this, and this. And I was like, well, these no names are doing it. Like, it was their first tour. They had no place to stay. There's, one bedroom apartment. And I'm like, these guys have enough money to buy like fresh fruit while they're on tour.
The dream.
And now you hear Float On everywhere. So
good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so
never knew that Death Cab for Cutie would like be a stadium band, but whatever.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. I get that. I grew up in punk bands and everything. Obviously, like the whole selling out thing is still a huge deal for the local punk scene, but you got to make paychecks somehow. What are you guys' favorite bands, and what kind of bands inspired Fair Verona in specific?
I want to talk about this because I just went back, and I'll say Helium was a huge influence on this band.
Gigantic.
Mary Timony, Helium, and I have not listened to Helium in a long time. And in preparation for this interview, I went back and I was just like, holy shit. We were just straight up ripping off. Not ripping off, but we were just so influenced by guitar playing and Helium. So that, I think that was a huge, probably the biggest influence of Fair Verona, I would say.
Yes. That was my answer, 100%.
Do you guys remember when we got Mary Timony's number and we called her and left her a message? She never called us back.
Several messages when we were playing in Boston, and straight up harassed her answering machine.
Yeah.
Oh my
Sorry,
God.
Mary. And I don't know if Leah and Beth know this, but like I have since met her. She's come to J. Robin's studio to record, and I've just been like, hey, I am super cool around you. Everything is fine and normal, and nice to meet you. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, nice to meet you. But inside, I'm like, oh my God. So I tried not to embarrass myself, but it is so weird living in proximity to DC after all our musical influences. I'll just say that.
I knew about Helium obviously being a huge influence, watching, Turned Out a Punk. I didn't know about the calling her personal phone number thing. That's new information for sure.
It wasn't illegal because we left a message. We weren't stalking her. Like,
That's right. We just want to see if she was in town and wanted to come to the show. No big deal.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like Bikini Kill, huge influence on us. I mean, just early 90s riot girl. I mean, that's the reason I picked up an instrument. So, and I think later, like, we were getting into like bands like Slint and Karate and,
Yeah, and I don't, like my bands were like Hole and Babes in Toyland and Sonic Youth, but like I don't know how or if they seeped in, because I agree, Beth. Like I hear a lot of helium with the way that we let our guitars intertwine and play off each other and stuff. That just sounds more like helium to me than anything else, but I'm sure it all made its way in there. And then of course whoever was drumming had some influence, of course, on how the final, how it's finally interpreted or whatever.
I think my bass lines, I was just constantly trying to rip off Karate and simultaneously and make my voice sound like every Kim of any band.
And that's why it worked, because like if you were also super influenced by helium, like then we would just sound like helium, but we needed like other things to come into play as well to create something new and worth listening to. And so much appreciated.
Is the song, or is the story behind the song, inspired by anyone in particular? This was a hot topic, by the way, in our server.
Did people have theories or something, like conspiracy
People had,
theories?
Ooh. People had so many theories. I wish that I could remember the name of the actress in particular that one person thought it was about, but I want to wait for you to answer it because I want to know if it was right.
Don't you have a story about how we wrote the song?
Oh, it is not about an actress.
Yeah.
If it's about me, this is a shitty way to tell me. Okay, guys? You could have told me before I hit record. What the fuck?
I think if I've ever not told you anything, it's that I didn't tell you how much you meant to me as often as I probably should have, and how much you still mean to me. So I don't have anything like that to say there. I fell very much in love with a man named Jason Noble from Louisville, who was pretty active in the Louisville scene in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think he was even like a part producer of something called Crazy Fest, which only ran for a few years at various venues. He was in a band called Rodan. Oh, he was in several bands. I think he was in the Shipping News as well.
Oh, Shipping News. I know them.
Another connection with Jason Noble. I mean, several, if you look him up. Sadly, he has passed away. But that was, I fell deeply in love with this man. And it was an unrequited love. And it never got weird because I'm not like that. But I definitely kept myself like as adjacent to him as I could. Just like if I had the opportunity to be with him in a social situation, I certainly would. And I got invited. So like, I think I got close, but I was talking to Beth on the phone and I was laying on the floor like, oh my God, I love it so much. And like, there's a song somewhere in me. There's a song, but there's like 163 miles between here and Louisville. And these,
Where I wrote it down in my journal when I was talking to Leah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
That's
God.
the original journal?
Yeah.
Oh, I love you so much.
153.
Yep. There was a song somewhere inside of me, damn 153 miles north of here, and then which, morphed into a line that rhymed.
Thank goodness. My heartbreak was not rhyming. But I was driving to Louisville a lot, my dude.
Well, that's a very interesting thing that you just said, because my next question was basically answered, which was, what is the meaning of damn them all 153, which obviously is about the mileage. But in the server, it was pointed out that 153 is also roughly the amount of days between June and December. And so that was the theory, was that it was a spread of time that you were talking about. Damn them all 153 days. June arrived with a bitterness so cold, etc.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. So not on purpose, Beth, is it?
What? No.
So that's not on purpose. Okay, coincidence. Okay.
Wild.
I mean,
you see the theories that we've been cooking.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it.
The internet.
My hope is that like there will be a revival of some of the great work that Jason did for that community through this interview or through the song. Because even though he has passed away, I think his legacy has lived and has become a foundation, an influence for many bands that we know and love today. Beth wrote the other 50% of the song. I was sitting on the floor crying about a guy.
Yeah, that's half the work. Most of the time, that's half the work. So.
You inspired me, so.
Damn. We did, like, for the record, so we all traded off duties of songwriting. Like, we all wrote songs, we all wrote parts. Sometimes we would come in with like fully formed songs. Sometimes we would work together to finish things together. And so for anyone wondering or that can't see this, like, yeah, that's what's happening. What was my part? My part was sing this low part flat, and I was like, you got it. And then find a way to play guitar over an already awesome riff, and I was like, bink, 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 helium, bink, bink, and then so that's my contribution to the song.
Hey, well, it worked out for.
It worked out.
At the very least, a couple hundred people. So,
Yeah.
Hopefully 153 eventually we'll hear the song.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
is my goal. Now, Tom, I do remember that you mentioned like a weird, just like a unexpected question about this song.
I'll tell you this in chronological order. So Sveta had messaged me about doing this call, trying to figure out a date and everything. Maybe like 2 or 3 days later, I got a message on Discord, a private message on Discord from a guy asking if I could ask you what your views on Christianity were, because he is convinced that Damn Them All 153 is a biblical reference. And he also messaged Sveta privately, and then he tried to call both of us individually. So he's burning for answers for this question, I guess.
I guess we answered it.
Yeah, it definitely is not about Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot. I'm trying to think of all the lyrics, but I know that, I mean, that song was written kind of when we had realized the situation that we were in. So I'm thinking of the line of, this is a beautiful movie we play in, and I'm going to change it when I get in. Like, that was a reference to being in this band. I think the title, Downfall of a Well-Known Actress, is just a reference to our band.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, because I think at that time I was writing a lot about being very angry at how fucked up the music industry was. So.
Fair.
Yeah.
Very fair. I had heard that the reason the song was so hard to find, part of the reason was that the song got cut from an album, or an album entirely got cut. How true is that? And how did it get cut?
Is this an Eddie Kramer song, you guys?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. Did this
I think
ever come
so.
out?
I think
I don't know if it was ever actually released.
No, it wasn't. We never,
so-
I mean, the only thing that was ever officially released was that first EP, and then we just kept getting put in front of different producers to record things, one of which was Eddie Kramer of Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix fame. And we recorded a bunch of songs with him, and I think the version that is on the internet on YouTube that I think you guys were referencing and Reddit. I think that was an Eddie Kramer session.
Because it's slick. It's produced, for sure. So it felt like, we were it was being set up that this would be like some sort of single, to what album at the time, I don't know, but maybe it was like, make it as radio friendly as possible, and then maybe that's what would get us the major label, just show them what we could do with these songs. But and I think we recorded another song also, it was 2 songs that that had that treatment basically, but I don't remember which was the other one.
I think it was Art of Lies.
That sounds right. The Art of Lies. Search for that. Lostwave.
I was going to say, don't give them any more fuel, because they'll do it. They'll give them enough time, and these teenagers, terminally online teenagers, will find it.
But what's beautiful is I feel like Fair Verona, the 90s are back, and every teenager is discovering music for the first time like it never existed before, which, no judgment, I did that too. Mom, have you heard of Led Zeppelin? Yeah, I fucking heard Led Zeppelin. And I just feel like our band, the music is so perfect for a resurgence and femme-centered 90s stuff, that isn't straight up punk rock, but it's also not pop, and it's also not, boring. I don't know. It's good shit, but it's of a time. And so of course, any younger person that wasn't there in the 90s when they were happening, like we were, I think it totally fits in with what else might be on their playlist,
Wait, real quick, I want to go back to Tom's question about who influenced us, because when you just said that, Shawna, about, we weren't totally punk, I'm thinking of all of our 3-part harmonies that we were constantly doing. Yes. And what was our influence for 3-part harmony?
Because we could.
Child, Leah, you were our influence for that.
I have, since I was born singing harmonies. And we would do it in the car. And even now if I'm around someone who's able to sing harmony, it happens. But I think you guys were really receptive when I was like, hey, what if we throw a harmony in here? And you guys were like, all right, sure, yeah. But I think it was, for me, I wanted to add it because I had been in children's choirs for years and had composed so many things for a long time. And I was like, man, what's better than one lead singer? 3 lead singers. And they're all different, because Shawna, she's a force. She's a force. She just gets up there and it's force, and you're going to get it. And here it is. And Beth is very she waits until you come to her, but her voice comes to the microphone. And I see it every time she plays. When I'm in the audience now, people stop what they're doing, and it's slow. Shawna's comes out, hello, I'm here, hello. And Beth's voice is something that you have to walk up to, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's, I have to smell this, and really you can almost see it come through the speaker, and it really envelops you. And then, for me as a lead singer, I'm thinking, so I'm almost like a conductor when I'm up there. So you have these 3 very different lead singers, but also who approach the stage presence so differently. And I think that's why it looked more like a beautiful dance between 3 people instead of a fist fight.
And Leah, you definitely always knew what was missing, and whatever it was, you could do it. You're extremely versatile. And so whatever, I was younger, uneducated, had no formal training. So it was all heart and no actual notes, and so whatever I was doing, Leah would be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and that will make this sound good. that will really round this out. And you could do it. And it was great.
Well, that's what a lot of our practices were. We just sat around and practiced singing harmonies.
Yeah. That's
over
fair.
and over and over and over again. So
Yeah, but the question remains, why?
yeah.
Why?
It's fun. It's
I think
fun.
Because it was fun. Well, I mean, I grew up on like fucking Janet Jackson and like pop music, like the greatest era of pop music in the 80s. So like I liked singing, and our version of punk, my version of punk was Bikini Kill, which was a rebellion against hair metal, right? And so like it is interesting though, like why didn't we stay that scrappy, or even like quote unquote not super great at our instruments? Like I was never like, this is good enough. Like it was cool to work on our shit and like sound better than the other band, I don't know.
I think we were ambitious, and we were just naturally had a pop like thread through us, all three of us.
Yeah. Fascinating to think about that in hindsight,
Mm-hmm.
It works out really well. I mean, like you were saying before, how like the 90s have kind of come back in style, especially for younger people. And I think that's true. And I think I swore for a while that you must have been a band from like the mid 2000s onward, because it sounded so much like a sound that eventually happened, but wasn't quite like all the way there yet. Because you do have, obviously you have the 3-part harmonies throughout your song and everything, but you also have like a little bit more edge than a lot of the bands at the time did with like that, there was a lot of that dynamic going on. Very cool. I like that sound a lot.
Yeah, that's very insightful, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
So are we going to put this stuff out then? Is that what we're doing?
What?
Let's go back in the studio, lady.
Oh my God.
20 years later, let's redo the song.
I think you're giving Tom a segue.
You're going to give the Discord kids too much hope with that one.
Can we just release the stuff we already have? It's not like the guys from Ivy Records are going to be like, oh, let's go find it. I mean,
no, they won't care. But you know what? I've actually touched base with one of those guys. I don't want to say too much publicly just in case, I don't want to, but one of those guys works at Pandora actually, and we've chatted, and it's perfectly pleasant. Like he's doing cool shit, like has a nice life, so like, no, they're not going to be like, wait a second to this like 25-year-old music or whatever. So yeah, we should probably consider just fucking putting it all online if we haven't already, if someone hasn't done that already.
I've got a quick side story regarding Lostwave for this. There's only one group I can think of off the top of my head, and I think it may just be the only band outright that has been found via Lostwave and actually got back together after the fact. And that is a band called The Defended from the UK, a song that we found in our server called There's a Man. It was posted as Man Up on a Hill or whatever for a while. It's a really good song. They're a really good band, but they're recording new music together for the first time since they were like released that song like 2007 or something.
Amazing.
It's been like over 15 years. So with the next question being, was there ever a chance of Fair Verona getting back together?
Yes. There's been
like 3 times in my life where I was like, I better relearn those songs. I feel like this might happen. Like, and then I didn't. And it didn't, but like, I was like, this, fuck it. I'll just fucking go back to Nashville and we'll like play a show. Like, and it just, life gets away from you, and the band you're in your own town, that's already hard to get to that rehearsal, just sucks up your time, but I love the idea. I would just want to make enough money to like buy a hotel instead of like sleep on top of a van at night,
Oh yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Hotel? That doesn't sound very punk of you.
No. It does sound very I'm in my 40s though, which I think is understandable.
Entirely fair.
You're welcome to stay here. I actually think Shawna has slept on an air mattress directly behind me in this room.
Yes, I have.
He's steward with me. Well, that was back when I still had the pool. Sorry, I know.
It's that pool.
It just takes too long to take care of that motherfucker. I hate that thing.
That's fair. I will treasure my memories of being fucking drunk in that pool during the day.
I wasn't going to say anything, but that was a lot of fun.
It was great. It was great.
You know, I think it'd be really easy to play a show. It's Nashville. It's a lot of live music opportunities. It's always easy to like, just when you know people for a very long time and we've all kind of grown up together, you can always jump on a festival. You can always get on a bill with some other bands who are, you know, getting together for now. We're seeing things like breast cancer and colon cancer. Like, we're like, let's get the band together and like make some money for his surgery, you know. But
Thanks.
it would be fun to do it not for, you know, that reason. And I think it would be pretty easy and straightforward to do like 4 to 8 shows in the Southeast, just, you know.
Wild.
We do that with cover bands. Plug for my newest cover band, which we're going to play the album Spiderland from start to finish. It's by a band called Slint.
Oh, okay.
They will not
Incredible
tour.
album.
They won't tour, and I want to hear that album live. And if you want to hear it and no one's touring, you're like, well, I'm going to play it myself then.
So everyone cross your fingers. Who knows?
But now it's going to be like, oh yeah, you know, Lostwave band Fair Verona confirms reunion.
Hey, if Lostwave wants to sponsor a tour, we'll put you at the top of the flyer. Sure, why not? Anything else, Tom, before I put my host hat back on?
You said your band is playing Spiderland in full, is that right? I just want to reconfirm that real quick.
So I don't have a band. I have friends who I call and say, are you free this weekend? How well do you know Spiderland? And we go to a venue and just play Spiderland. Or we play, Beth and I play in a Pixies cover band together.
Oh, cool.
We do all kinds of shows and have fun. We've been in a Pixies cover band together for 20 years. And right, 20 or something, maybe. No, we're not that old, maybe 5. But it's me and my plumber, and and a guy that was in my band when I was on Sponge Bath Records, and it's sort of a TBD on who's the 4th member right now, but we have.
Fine, I'll do it.
Is it the drummer you're missing? Are you missing a drummer?
I wouldn't say I'm missing him, but
Okay.
we are. No,
It's always the drummer.
No, it's harder to find a drummer to play those drum parts because they are oddly specific. If you listen to that record, it is almost orchestral in how specific those drum parts are.
The drummer was kind of the band lead for Slint too, right? That was like the same thing with like Cap'n Jazz at the time and bands like that. But
Throwing out Cap'n Jazz, Tom. Is that
I love Cap'n Jazz. I love Cap'n Jazz.
Oh boy! All right. Yes,
You've got Beth's attention.
you have my attention, sir.
If you're not going to age us, I'm going to age all of us all at once. So,
Okay.
Let's talk about piebald next.
Yeah.
so what I get is you guys are getting back together and playing entire albums in full. That's correct, right? Yeah, that's confirmed right here.
You heard it
Sounds
here
good.
first.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I just want to see, like, after having this conversation so far, I just want to know from Leah and Beth, like, are there any like stories or memories from Fair Verona that are just coming up for you that you can't get rid of, that are just occupying your brain right now after all this talk?
I mean, like going through all of my journals from that time, and then all of the cassette tapes I have of everything we record. We would record every rehearsal. Every time we just sat down and played guitar, I have cassette tapes and cassette tapes. And I think just like the memory of my work ethic back then.
How did we do it?
All I did was play guitar and be in a band. That's all I did. And then I came across these amazing scrapbooks that my mother made of Fair Verona. So maybe we need to like scan some
Yes.
pages. I wouldn't really say, no like specific stories came up, but I think it was just the overall like how it was all consuming. And it's weird to think back on it and how hard we worked and how, I don't know, it just like it didn't happen.
Yeah, right. We were shooting for a goal and shooting for the moon and fell a little short. And but also there's this amazing thing with youth where you think, okay, well, this band broke up. I'll just like do it again in another band and get big. And then that doesn't really work. And you're like, oh, like you can't just decide to get huge. Like that's not enough. It doesn't matter. Like there's too much luck involved for like a good work ethic to even to be a determining factor, you know, like it doesn't hurt, but it's interesting. And so I see, you know, with the benefit of time, I see younger bands that kind of blow up, you know, real quick, they burn real bright in the scene. And then they're like, this isn't fun. Let's break up, you know, or, you know, whatever valid reason, that being one of them. And then you kind of see them maybe try it again or think that they can just capture lightning in a bottle again. And it doesn't really work that way. And so learning that lesson at that age has made me really, like grateful for anything that happens around playing music, including our time in Fair Verona and just being like, wow, what an amazing band to cut my teeth on, you know, like all the shit we got to do in Nashville in a very, very male dominated time where like it really was harder than it is now. And like, I don't know. It was just cool to do that with y'all.
Yeah, and to be that young and how we like really stood by our values. I mean, I actually do remember now. I have a story of we got asked to open up for Nashville Pussy. I didn't want to do it, and instead of not doing the show, I made like some sort of embroidered guitar strap, and what did it say? Something is not empowerment, exhibition is not empowerment, or something like that, you know.
I don't remember that. Oh wow.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, now I would be like, oh, that was dumb. I think I was like, because she would give faux blowjobs on stage to the band members or something, I don't know. I mean, and now I'm like, whatever, like, do you, girl. But I think just being that young and standing up for what we believed in and not getting steamrolled and making a hard decision of breaking up in the hope that things would be better. We could go on to do other things and not just saying, you know what, I'll do whatever you want me to do. You want me to play this character? I'll play this character, you know?
That's the punk, right? Like that's the rad girl. That's the punk in us for sure. Yes.
I think I have a specific memory. So many, actually. One I for sure won't share. Maybe after the recording, but I remember being old enough to be in a club, but the rest of the band was not quite old enough. But there is a memory I have of me and Beth wrapped together in a sleeping bag, like a little burrito, watching this band from outside the window, because even though it was one of my favorite bands at the time, I wanted to be really fucking cold outside with my girl Beth in this burrito sleeping bag, rather than like being there in a nice warm club hearing the music. So that was a really special memory that I had. And the other thing I wanted to say, just in that same vein of us working so hard, is that nobody really partied that much. Really didn't get drunk. Like nobody really wanted to. We kind of we played and then we sold our hotel room. I think we played cards. We would have really long talks. We would wash our clothes like in a sink and like hang them up. Like we were kind of just very well behaved young ladies.
Wow.
Which is so odd to me. that they were like, "Oh, are you cheating on your guys? Are you getting drunk?" You're like, "No, I didn't even think about shit."
Too late now.
You're so right, though. You're so right. I party more now because I'm like, I'm fine. Everyone's fine. This band is fine. Like I trust every band member to like not lose their gear or throw up on someone, so it's like, okay, I can let loose and have fun. But you're so right. We were very good.
Well, we also basically had a chaperone with us on the road. So
Right. Our friend, he's our friend. Let's
he
give him.
was very other like
7-year-old man trapped in a 20-year-old body. You're absolutely right, Beth. Good for you, Beth.
But he's our buddy, our tour manager for zero money. So all, mad respect to Evil Jay.
He's a national treasure. He's an absolute national treasure. And I'm so glad that you mentioned him.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So maybe everybody just tell us briefly what you've been up to since Fair Verona, what kinds of projects of yours people can find online, or if you want people to find you on socials, like that sort of information.
What have I been doing? I have super, super private accounts on social media. They're pretty much locked down. I have 3 children. They're not children. Oh, hello. I have a 24-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And I practiced anesthesiology. So I went back to school, went back to a lot of school. And now I'm a nurse anesthetist. And I teach at a nurse anesthesia school as well. So, and apparently I'm just picking up this cover band thing.
So you've been busy.
And I run marathons. That was
my God. Impressive.
After Fair Verona, I started a band called Forget Cassettes, and I now have a band called Black Bra. And I also eventually went back to school, got my master's in accounting, so I have my own accounting practice, and that is what I do.
Okay, someone ask me.
Shawna, what do you do now?
Oh my God, thank you so much for asking. After Fair Verona, let's see, I moved to Baltimore to join a band, and that band was called Avec. And we did some stuff I'm really proud of, but no one cared. Nobody cared about it.
I love it.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good stuff.
It's awesome. It's so good.
And then that band had Brooks Harlan, who is he and I, that band fizzled. Talk about bands that fizzled. We just kind of stopped doing stuff. But Brooks and I were like, we want to keep playing music. We're not done yet. We want to play stuff that's like tougher, heavier, or like angrier. And so we started War on Women together. And so that's what I've been doing ever since. And I've done like little things on the side and like guest vocals and a Fela Kuti cover band for a couple of years as a backup singer, like really random shit. And I also have a podcast called But Her Lyrics. I have a book called Making Spaces Safer, and I'm now an intimacy coordinator for film and theater. So hire me.
Hell yeah.
Tom, what about you? How can people get involved in the Lostwave community and find you? And, what else do you want to shout out?
So our Discord server particularly is closed now, but Find My Mind is probably the biggest Discord server for the Lostwave community at the moment. They've got like some insane member count. I don't know. I believe it's r/Find My Mind on Reddit. If you look up Find My Mind or find the subreddit, you'll find the Discord, all kinds of scattered other Discords for Lostwave, like different songs and everything. They all cultivate their communities through Discord and Reddit, but they've all got subreddits. Me particularly, I'm in the Find My Mind Discord. I'm also in the Defended's Lostwave Discord. My name in there is Party Tom. If you ever need to reach me, it's where you can find me. I know it's a great name.
Party Tom.
I guess I just want to shout out Sveta, who was kind of like the stalwart soldier of our Discord server for a very long time. Kind of like the sole moderator for a little bit there. She unfortunately couldn't be here due to some other matters. The Find My Mind Discord people for just doing what they've been doing for such a long time. Everyone that used to be in the Dance for Hours a Day Discord who are going to be very thrilled when I say that, because they were so into this song, and they're the ones responsible for finding it. Satan, God, for being Christian and bringing that guy to my attention on Discord. And obviously you guys, War on Women, Black Bra, I ended up getting really into both of them over the time that I was waiting for this. They're both really fantastic projects. I also heard a little bit of Forget Cassettes via, you posted about them on Twitter, I believe. And I kind of got into that too. But yeah.
Well, thank you for giving us a platform to talk about this band that we haven't talked about in so many years, and how fun. Just how fun.
Yeah, just super, super grateful to everyone that took an interest in, this little band, this little song, that it just really speaks to the power of music, and how wild it can take a snapshot of a period of time, of a moment, of an emotion, of crying on the floor one night, and it can travel into the future and be discovered and appreciated by people that weren't even born yet, probably, right?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking amazing, and probably has something to do with why I still play music, and I can't bring myself to stop, because it's just so wonderful and magical and powerful. And so this is very, very cool. Thank you to everyone in the Lostwave community for taking an interest and giving us an excuse to catch up. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
The day